Incredible Buzz. I'm Chris.
And I'm Patty. And today we're going to talk about a recent incident at the zoo that it's all over media, is that the gorilla and the child at the zoo ran into the gorilla area and was, caught by the gorilla. And as you know, the zoo officials shot the gorilla.
Yeah.
So
did you see the video?
I did. I saw the video of the gorilla dragging him by the foot.
Yeah.
Which my fear immediately there was
he was
going to drown.
I know. And that's the thing. If they didn't do something fast enough, the kid could have just plain drowned. The gorilla didn't have to be mean. The gorilla didn't have to be aggressive. But just dragging him around, he's only a 4-year-old kid.
Well, that's what I thought too. Even if the gorilla thought he's playing, the gorilla's not going to realize, wow, this kid is under a couple feet of water. And they, not to mention he could be hitting his head. And I'm sure there's cement. I don't know what's under there. But,
I'm sure.
But anyway, all the controversy, I can see both sides. I understand that what a tragedy to shoot the endangered species, the gorilla.
And it was a 17-year-old gorilla, and it was...
Yeah, and how sad. And some people, some people are saying if you look at the footage, it looks like he was kind of standing the child up and kind of comforting him. Well, maybe and maybe not.
But it was still a gorilla.
But it was a gorilla and it was a child, My first thought was, you have to make a split-second decision. Yeah. You got to try to make the right decision. Your time's not on your side. It's a child and it's a gorilla. And I love animals. I'm an animal advocate, don't get me wrong. But I'm one of those people where if I got to choose between a 4-year-old child and a gorilla, I'm going to choose the child. That's just how I see it. Now, a 4-year-old cannot help what a parent does. This 4-year-old is a completely innocent little human being. Yeah, he ran in there. Well, 4-year-olds do those kinds of things. He's not thinking. In other words, you cannot punish this child. You cannot say, well, the child shouldn't have went in there, so he's wrong, the gorilla's right, let's save the gorilla. I mean, to me, that's absurd. Yeah. Now, the parent issue is a completely different story.
Well, but anybody that has had kids knows that 4-year-olds move fast. And you can't always keep you can try as hard as you want to keep your eye on that kid. You could be as vigilant as you want, and they can still get away from you.
I understand that. And what I mean is by the parent issue is a completely different story, is in my eyes, that has nothing to do with that moment where there's a gorilla, there's a child, the child's life is probably in danger. Mm-hmm. You have to make a decision. Whatever they think afterwards about how the child got there in the first place, what was right or wrong and all of that is a separate issue from, this is the reality of what's happening right now. What do we do?
Yeah. And the thing is that the people that are against shooting the gorilla are tearing down the zoo and the parents and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But you could say, oh, well, we should have waited one more minute. Maybe the gorilla would have let the kid go. That one more minute, the kid could have died.
It's exactly. And hindsight is always 20/20. And the thing is, nobody knows how that would have turned out. And I can guarantee you, I'm pretty sure if the zoo hadn't acted how it had, and God forbid
the kid
was killed,
that would have been a bigger uproar.
Everything over the media was going to be the zoo was wrong. The zoo should have taken care of that gorilla right away. What were they thinking? They know gorillas can be dangerous.
Oh yeah.
So come on. And also, as much as you love animals, which I do, for everybody out there who's saying they shouldn't have done it, they should have tried everything else. They should have, and maybe you should have tried other things. I don't know what all the other options are. However, if that was your 4-year-old child or your 4-year-old nephew or your 4-year-old little brother or your whatever, honestly, would you say, oh, let's think about this, what's the right thing to do? Or would you be saying, get rid of that gorilla, save this child? I think you'd want to save the child.
Oh, and you said it a couple times, if it's the gorilla or the child, you've got to choose the child. You can't take a chance. And I think the zoo acted correctly. I heard them talking about, they were trying to decide between darting it and shooting it, and they said if they would have darted it, it would have taken too long for the gorilla to go down.
And it may have agitated him, they said, too.
So all that gorilla, he was huge. All he had to do was just go like that, and the kid could be dead without meaning to it. It didn't have to be an aggressive gorilla for it to kill a kid. And I just think that when something like this happens, this is a perfect time to let's try to do something moving forward, change something that we need to change so it doesn't happen again. Because it's a tragic situation all the way around. It is very sad. But why was the child allowed to get in there? I understand that you don't want big
chain link fences that you're trying to look through. You want to feel like you're kind of part of this environment when you're at a zoo, but let's be realistic. If a child can slip into there, it's not, they need to rethink.
Every zoo probably needs to look to see if there's
I'm not saying anything about that particular zoo. I'm just saying across the board, it shouldn't be set up that anyone could slip in there.
Well, just think about the safety issues with like toddler beds and all this kind of stuff. They've corrected all that stuff. They've got measurements. You can't have your deck slats farther than this far apart because some kid could stick his head in there and get caught. Same for zoos. They need to just look at their stuff and see what needs to be corrected.
Exactly. And I think that's just, it's, I'm not saying nobody did anything wrong in the sense with the zoo or anything as far as these things are set up for a way that I'm sure they have a lot of safety things in place. And to be honest with you, I say kudos to that zoo for acting as fast as they did, being professional enough. They saved the kid. There wasn't anything, you got to be a good shooter just to, I know their girls are big, but you have a child in this, the whole thing. Honestly, if I were going to take my grandchildren to a zoo, I'd feel kind of good about taking them to that particular zoo because it looks to me like they're on the ball as far as handling an emergency.
Yeah. Well, and they said they had all these experts. They've got an emergency trauma team type group that comes in. I think it was a vet and some specialists on this and that and the other thing. They had to make this decision, so the zoo was prepared.
That's what I'm trying to say.
I don't think they did anything wrong. I mean, so it's sad that the gorilla died. It's sad that they had to do it in the first place, but that was a choice they had to make, and they had to make it fast.
That's right.
Because if that kid would have been injured at all, that would have been a huge uproar.
And the backlash would have been way worse. Believe me, if it would have went the other way. So what,
Yeah. Now my brother is a wildlife biologist for the state of Wyoming, and they run into that a lot, where they get bears that would come up on people's porches and stuff like that. And what happens is if the bear sees the people as a food source, that's why they say never feed the bears, never, because as soon as you train them that a person is a food source, then you could be their next meal.
Yeah.
So then they have to decide, that's where they have to weigh their issues too, between killing the bear or just putting it to sleep and moving it.
Right.
And sometimes they have to kill it. And then the animal rights activists are way up in arms. But, the thing is sometimes people are doing things wrong that cause these things. It's training the animals that people are a food source. And, so who knows? I mean, these guys are experts on this stuff. They have to make the decisions, and they're not doing anything because they like to kill the animals.
Well, of course, I'm sure it's a horrible thing for the zoo. I mean,
sure. And the money down the drain for them. So like you said, kudos to the zoo, because if you're sitting there in a room going, boy, we're going to lose $1 million by shooting this deer or shooting this gorilla, and it's like, boy, you have to give them a lot of credit for deciding what was best for that child.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's our discussion for today. So anyway, want to thank you for joining us with Incredible Buzz, and check out incrediblebuzz.com. Share us if you can.
Yep. And remember, life should be
an incredible buzz.